Greetings and welcome to the Issues of Today podcast series. I do apologise if there's background noise. I'm currently in a house full of people, one of which is a 3-year-old toddler, so you can only imagine it's let's just say a bit hectic. Alright, we'll jump right into the thick of it. As you probably read by the title, I'm going to be talking about morals, or better yet ethics, in the justice system. Now this sort of comes about because I do have a very big interest in law. In fact, I have an interest in practicing law. But I often get asked this question: how are you going to feel if you have to defend a guilty person? And better yet, how are you going to feel if you successfully do that to a point where he actually ends up not facing the required consequence? Pardon me. Now, I really like to answer this with a few things. First of all, I like to bring up something called the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This was published in 1948, December the 1st, I believe. Nonetheless, it basically details every single one of our human rights. I will be referring to that as the UDHR from now on, but alright, we'll go ahead anyway. Now, one of these rights, don't ask me which one, is the right to fair trial. Yes, it is put in a more complicated and colourful way, but that is, in essence, what it's saying. Everyone has the right to a fair trial, or better yet, an unbiased trial. Of course, this was back in the day where segregation was pretty big when it came to African Americans and Western Europeans, and Australians and Aboriginals, all the like. So yeah, the unbiased part has become slightly obsolete nowadays, but well, it still carries true in some ways. Now, guilt. That's an interesting one, actually. Because a lot of people say, well, if you know someone's guilty, why don't you just make it known to the judge? Well, I hate to treat you all like idiots, but that is a bit of a stupid question. There is something called an attorney-client privilege, which says that any lawyer cannot reveal personal information about his client to anyone at all. There may be some very obscure exceptions to this, but there is no way that a judge could walk into a courtroom and say, "Your Honour, my client is guilty." That just wouldn't work. Could you imagine the sort of chaos you get in the justice system if lawyers were just at the ability to completely and utterly destroy any form of confidentiality they have with their client? It would be insane, right? So that in itself, you could sort of look at and go, well, why does that exist? Why can't lawyers just tell the judge that their client is guilty and have everything move smoothly? That in itself is fine. That's a relatively reasonable question to ask. But what you're suggesting there is to go outside of the law in order to find justice. It's a very big, messy situation. Because you can look at it this way, right? For every guilty person a lawyer prevents from going to prison, he prevents 100 innocent people from going to prison. So, sure, if you want to completely go outside of the law to find justice, in the example I've given there, completely destroy any form of confidentiality, sure, you might get one extra criminal in there. Alright, good on you. So your conviction rates are high, but what happens to the 100 innocent people that didn't commit a crime but now ended up in jail as a subsequent? You might not see how that is in effect. It wouldn't be an exact, opposing effect. So it wouldn't happen like that. But it's more of a ripple effect. Right, so you're basically saying, you know what, I'm denying this person a right to a fair trial. And sure, he's guilty, but what happens to the innocent people who are also denied a right to fair trial? Because now you've set this precedent. You've set this expectation that people will just have the liberty to not give someone a fair trial. And thus, you've got innocent people that aren't given a fair trial, that aren't given adequate ability to defend themselves against charges that for crimes they never even committed. So actually, that's a good sort of rhetorical question to really clean things up. Is would you prefer to have one guilty person go to jail when he wouldn't have, and subsequently have 100 innocent people further down the line go to jail for something they never did? Or would you prefer to let that criminal go and keep protecting 100 innocent people for crimes that they never committed? So that's something I'd really like you to think on, actually, because it really does, it puts you into a lawyer's shoes. So, I'll end off just with the question, why should you have the ability to choose who has the right to a fair trial? That's not a loaded question, because personally I don't know your answer, and I can't really comment on it when you do know it. Look, that was a very short podcast, and I didn't expect it to be very long. It's a pretty simple subject once you dissect it into little pieces. But, I thank you for watching. If you have any opposing opinions, I'd love to hear them. I'm always open to new and improved ideas, I guess you could say. You know what, I will admit some ideas are a bit stupid, and I'd also like to hear them as well, because it gives me an opportunity to laugh. Alright, nonetheless, I thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day.